Hi everyone, it is me, Sailor Mercury, Sailor Quicksilver here, and it's me, Sailor Mars, Sailor Red World, Ray here, and today we're going to talk about, you know, about are there really good things about the Deke Sailor Moon? Because a lot of folks in the Sailor Moon followership would have you believe that there is nothing good about Deke Sailor Moon. Like they would have you believe that it's just unwatchable and that you can't get any happiness or glee from watching it. Now, first off, we had watched The Deep Sailor Moon many times. All right. And and I know a lot of folks in the 4-1 Reichs and the settled land grew up on that Sailor Moon, either watching it on UPN or WB or USA or Cartoon in the 4-1 Reichs and YTV in the settled land. So they grew up with that Sailor Moon. Now, a lot of folks know nowadays, a lot of those folks hate that Sailor Moon. They don't hate it, but they don't like it either because names were shifted, street names and near names were shifted, strike names were shifted, some of the fighting was skimmed out, some of some of the some of the sagas of the first following and one of the two diff were skipped over, you know, unstraight folks being shifted, a lot of things out there that Deke Glee did that that the FCC said they had to do if they wanted to make a show for children, which Sailor Moon was. In the English-speaking world, Sailor Moon was for children. I am sorry, that's what it was back in the day. Nowadays, you got Viz Sailor Moon, and Viz Sailor Moon, they don't have to follow any of the oversights, so whatever. But they would have you believe that it was just unwatchable, but that's not true. I've watched it many times on sundriest websites like Euro, and then on Daily Motion or Daily Shift, Vugon, on some old website known as Anime Planet or Drawing Show World, which is no longer around, on another old website known as SailorMoonTV.com, but that's no longer around either. And for like websites like, Films 123, or, like Watch Cartoons Online, which are very few websites that, you can even watch the Deke Sailor Moon, or the Pioneer Sailor Moon, or the Cloverway Sailor Moon, And it's not bad at all, the skimming out of the fighting or the wrestling going on at the time, the shifting of street names or near names or strike names, the shifting of borrow names out for other borrow names or whatever. That didn't irksome, not to me at all. Yeah, you're right, Sailor Mercury, Sailor Quicksilver. You're right, Amy. At the end of the day, a lot of folks in the Sailor Moon followership they got that freedom, that right not to like Deep Sailor Moon. But at the same time, it's a belief with them that it's just unwatchable. They spend a lot of time scathing and bitching and ranting about how bad Deep Sailor Moon is, and about how Deke should have not made that, how Deke Lee should have not skimmed on the wrestling, the fighting, or on names or street names or near names or whatever. Now, a lot of folks nowadays, since Viz Sailor Moon's been out, they say, well, that's the Sailor Moon we should have gotten back in the day. Great for you, Den. But anyway, it is watchable. I like it. And every time I watched it, I do love it. I get happiness. I get glee from it. I don't get irked or angered or wretched over watching it like some of these folks, did or still do. And I truly do like the Deke Sailor Moon. I also like Pioneer Sailor Moon and Cloverway Sailor Moon. And I also like Viz Sailor Moon too. Now, at the end of the day, whatever Sailor Moon you choose to like, whatever English offshoot there are, and there are about 4 of them, believe it or not, Deke Sailor Moon, Cloverway Sailor Moon, which was, I don't know, really not much of an unlikeness between Pioneer Sailor Moon or we want to say Renaissance Atlantic Sailor Moon or Viz Sailor Moon. So you got about those Sailor Moons to choose from. Now, a lot of folks out there are going to say, well, so some Sailor Moon followers will say things like, well, you're not a true Sailor Moon follower if you like the Deke Sailor Moon. Now, that's dumb, and I don't know who said that, or that even is a thing, but I do know there are some Sailor Moon followers out there who, and I know there's a war, going on between the Deke and Pioneer and Cloverway side of Sailor Moon, fighting the Viz side of Sailor Moon followers having wars over which offshoot of Sailor Moon is the greatest. Well, I'm just going to tell you shouldn't be warring or over Deke Sailor Moon, Pioneer Sailor Moon, Cloverway Sailor Moon, or Viz Sailor Moon. They're all good in their own right. Now, I still like Deke Sailor Moon. And when I think of Sailor Moon, that's the first one, that's what I first think of. Anytime we're giving our thoughts on any of the sagas of Sailor Moon that we watch on Cartoon Network or Drawing Show Folkwork on Adult Swim or Grown Up Swim, yeah, we're working the Deke borrowed names. We're bringing up things that they said in the Deke one, So, yeah. So even though we do like Viz Sailor Moon, we like Deke Sailor Moon too. So it's still watchable. It's still good. I still get glee and happiness from watching it. And if that makes us a not true Sailor Moon follower, well, that is some's belief there. Well, you're right about that, Sailor Mars, Sailor Red World. You're right about that, Ray. It's their belief. It's their thought. It's their take. So many folks to this day still hating on something that has, been out or has not been broadcast or streamed in years. That's right. Deke Sailor Moon has not been broadcasted or streamed on any Farsi or Folkwork or any streaming website due to how badly it was kept. You see, Deke Sailor Moon went from Toei, and then it went to Disney, and then to Deke, and then it went to Cookie Jar, and then it went to DMX, and it went to Wild Brian, and somewhere down the row of those shifts of ownership, they didn't take good care of Deke Sailor Moon, so that's why you don't see it anymore. But I still like it, all right? I like Deke Sailor Moon. I even like the Cloverway Sailor Moon, which, believe it or not, is the Pioneer Sailor Moon. The only unlikeness is where they end it with the non-singing offshoot of Deke Sailor Moon, and then in the Pioneer one, they just have whatever Toei had for the clothing song for it. Anyway, at the end of the day, it's still watchable. I still like it. The sagas are still good. The songs are still good. And they didn't, and even though they may have skipped over some of the sagas of the first following and one of the two that following, and even though they may have, shifted near names and street names and strike names, and they may have shifted out borrowed name for other borrowed names out there, it's still a good show. Yeah, you're right. So tell us what you think about this. All right. I, Sailor Mercury, Sailor Quicksilver Amy, and I, Sailor Mars, Sailor Red World Ray, and we'll see you later. All right. Goodbye.